Now the Volvo XC60 has been around for a while now, but the thing about Scandinavian design is that it is timeless, and this one still looks like a proper 2025 model year. I'm here at McDonald's Volvo in Denver to have a look at this beauty right here. This is a 2025 XC60 B5 in the dark theme, meaning that everything that's normally chrome in the front end is now blacked out, as you can see, and in this crystal white, the contrast just looks very, very nice. You also have 21-inch wheels. This is probably the spec that I would pick. You also have the brown interior, just looking beautiful. We're going to talk about this design from front, side, rear, the interior, of course, and then last but not least, we're going to take this for a drive. If you're interested in this vehicle, it is for sale, of course, here at McDonald's Volvo in Denver, linked down below. As a viewer of this channel, you get the best current deals and rebates on brand new wheels, tires, parts, and accessories for your vehicle at TireRack.com. Click the link in the description to learn more, and thanks for supporting the channel. Now, as always, before we jump in and talk about this beautiful design, let's have a look at what's under the hood of the 2025 Volvo XC60 B5. All-wheel drive in ultra dark theme with the crystal white exterior. What a spec this is. I'm always surprised, by the way, every time I see a Volvo I have a review. Look at the opening of the hood. It's almost 90 degrees. You can definitely go in there and definitely see what's under here when you open this up. So we have a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo with a mild hybrid 48-volt system. Love this drivetrain because it gives you a little bit of a boost when you're taking off from the I think the electric motor is about 13 horsepower on this. So it's not the biggest one, but it definitely helps around town. You have 247 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque. It's connected to an 8-speed automatic transmission. All-wheel drive, of course. 0 to 60 takes about 6.5 seconds. Fuel economy comes in at 23 city, 30 highway. And the price for this one, as spec'd right here at McDonald's Volvo in Denver, is about $61,894. Now the ground clearance for the XC60 doesn't look like it's very high, but actually it is 8.5 inches of ground clearance in this one. Not bad at all, because it has this very sporty look, specifically when you throw on these beautiful 21-inch wheels. I mean, the spec for this one, honestly, look at the interior there. You can see it. We're gonna, of course, look at that in a minute in detail. But the brown interior with the crystal white exterior right here and the dark theme just hits the spot for me. So let's close this down and let's talk about this design. I mean, we all know what the XC60 looks like because it's been around for a while now, but it doesn't matter. It still looks very, very nice, and it still definitely looks modern and like a 2025 model year. We did have a refresh a couple of years ago with the lower section being a lot more chiseled. What I love about that is we got these new chamfers coming in here. And as you know, I've said this before, but I love key chamfers around main areas of graphics in the front end. We have a small chamfer underneath the beautiful headlight here. You can see the Thor's hammer, just how it connects with the grille right here. And then we have the dark theme, everything being blacked out instead of chrome. And as I said before, I mean, that in contrast with the crystal white exterior design, to me just looks very beautiful. And look at how all the lines, there's a lot of horizontal lines going on here in the front end, and this is what I want to see in a stately vehicle like this. We have horizontal lines here, vertical lines in that area, and then of course going up to the grille as well, in addition to the blacked out Volvo logo in the front end. And the front mounted camera is located right here underneath the Volvo logo, like that it is in the center. In some vehicles you have it off center, the BMW M5 for example. It is just very annoying to see that, but here of course it sits right in the middle. Look at the beautiful lines that we have up top on the hood here, going from the A-pillar, going down, wrapping around here, creating a nice line in the middle as well, right from the A-pillar all the way down. If we continue this line, you're gonna see, do we have a line flow connection here? We have it going down from the A-pillar into the very corner of the grille. Exactly what I want to see in a car like this. Now, coming around to the side view and the proportions of this is supposed to be refreshed pretty soon. Maybe next year. I do believe they're going to come out with a replacement for this next year. But still, when you look at this design, to me, it just doesn't necessarily need a refresh. We have the 8.5-inch ground clearance. You have the optional mud flaps as well. Probably not something I would want to put on my XC60. It just looks a little goofy. to have this on. I do believe it's like $250 to put those on. But the wheel and tire setup here with the 21-inch wheels, you have two 55mm white tires, 21-inch wheels, and thankfully, even though this is a dark theme, the wheels, as you can see, they're not completely black, so we can actually appreciate the spoke design and what's going on here. I do like the wheel design itself. It looks very, very beautiful. And again, not having them be black, just it's a very big plus for me, specifically in 2025, when everybody seems to be putting black wheels on it. You have a carved out portion here in the lower section with these graphics and an upswing right there, adding some sportiness. I do like that this lower section is also body painted. Again, just adding a bit sportiness, a more sporty vibe to this vehicle. Blacked out side mirrors sitting on the door. Love to see that instead of having it be mounted in this corner here. This makes it feel more exotic to me to have it located on the door itself. Up top, we have blacked out roof rails. We also have the full panel roof up top, as you can see, body painted roof. Would be maybe cool to have the roof be black. I'm not entirely sure what that would look like. Maybe it would look sick, or maybe not. I don't know. I would want to have to do some Photoshop with that. Coming onto the rear end here, 3/4 rear view. This is actually a car that I know I say I prefer the 3/4 rear view in pretty much every single car I review. But in this case, I actually think, I mean, it's 50-50. I think the front looks just as good as the rear end in this case. Look at the beautiful sharp shoulder line in the sunshine here, adding some muscle over the rear axle. And we have the beautiful Volvo lights here as well, integrated in the body surfacing, so it flows very nicely from the body surface itself into the key graphics. A lot of LEDs here. You have full LED taillights, small little LEDs right here, XC60 badge, Volvo badge, and the B5. Think about this, if we have this being dark theme, definitely want to have these badges and emblems. I want to have them be blacked out as well. Another thing I want to change in the back, since this is such a clean design, I definitely want to have the wiper right here. Want to have this be hidden up under here. So extend the spoiler a little bit, make it a little longer, taller, stick it out a little more than that, and then hide the spoiler up there to clean out the rest of the rear end. We don't have any visible exhaust pipes either. That is something that Volvo ditched for, I do believe, 2024 or 2025. They used to have it back in the day, but I do like the styling here. We have a nice looking diffuser. I wouldn't know, not sure if I would call this a diffuser, but this section down here, we have it going down into this black area as well. And we also have, of course, the chiseledness that we have in the front end coming around right here. Hopefully you can hear me because they fired up some machines over there, but thankfully we're almost done with the exterior parts. So opening up this, you have plenty of trunk space. Of course, you have 60-40 split here, and you also have a couple of connections right here, 12 volt and the netting right there. So with that said, I think it's time to jump inside of the car so you can actually hear what I'm saying. Let's close this back down and see what we have for the interior design of this beautiful 2025 XC60 B5. Now, one detail I actually did not know is that the salesperson said, that gave me the keys to this vehicle, he actually said that in Sweden they have a smell team, a team that specifically comes and smells the interior of the car to make sure it has the right smell to it. And I had no idea about that, because they said Volvo cares about the customers. They don't want it on a hot summer's day like today. It's pretty hot outside right now. When they step in the vehicle, they don't want it to smell, you know, of glue or something like that, adhesive. So they make sure that before the cars leave the production line, they actually make sure that it smells right in the interior. So look at this beautiful layout that we have in this 2025 XC60. This is the one I prefer. I think the next generation is not gonna be as beautiful, as good of a design as this one, because here you have a nice one single line up top going into this wave, which is the gauge cluster up top. We have a head-up display with minimal information up there. We also have a small screen in this area, not too big. I don't want it to be any bigger than this. I think this is absolutely perfect size. We have the climate settings here. You do have CarPlay, but it's not wireless. You need to plug in your phone. But the good news is that you still have Google Maps, which is almost as good as CarPlay. And if you want to play your music, you can still connect your phone wirelessly via Bluetooth, of course. Going to the home button here, it's a very, very simple layout for this. And that is what I love about this infotainment system. There's nothing complex about this. It's very easy to figure this out. You have air quality here as well. No, don't allow right now. You can see the air quality right here. Good. Great. I guess the smell is great, and also the air quality is great for the XC60. Now, coming on to the camera settings here, let's just boost the, hold on a second. We gotta boost the fan speed a little bit because it's getting very, very toasty in here. Camera settings down here, so let's go in. Actually, now you probably can't hear me, so I guess I'm gonna have to suffer a little bit for this video to make sure you hear me. You have heated and ventilated seats, heated steering wheel in 3 different levels. Camera settings, again, you can check out the 360 camera top view, exactly where the car is positioned. Pretty nice. It's not the most advanced camera setting system, but it works. It shows you exactly what you need to see. Love the wood grain trim that we have going around here. We have this chrome trim piece as well. Would want to have this be blacked out, since this is the dark theme. We have the blacked out features on the exterior. Want to have that on the interior as well. Check out the sizing of this glove box. One of the biggest glove boxes I think I've ever seen in this type of vehicle. Now, up top here we have the gauge cluster, which sits, of course, deep within the dash, in the cave in there. Exactly what I want to see. We have dual housing for it. One housing up top. We have this internal framing for it as well. You can customize it 2 ways. You can have it be blank like that, or you can have it be with the map in the middle. This is sort of the calm version of this, and this is, if you're navigating with Google Maps, you get it here. You also get it up there in the head-up display. These vents are looking beautiful as well. Very nice, solid feel to these settings. And of course, we do have still the Oriforce crystal gear selector. Putting it in drive, just pushing it back like that. Put a reverse, pop up the reverse camera right there. Press the P to go into park, start and stop to just twist this button right there. Parking brake auto hold is now on. I'm gonna turn that off. Not a huge fan of that myself. Now, looking at the keys, we have all the Volvo keys here, but as you can see, they all look the same. So we have lock, unlock on one side right there, open the trunk as well, and then you have the panic button right there on the other side with a nice little Volvo logo on it. 2 cup holders here, 12-volt outlets in this area. We can also open this up to show you the tiniest piece of storage compartment I think I've ever seen in a vehicle. Not sure exactly what you're gonna store in there. Maybe actually a big pen, a couple of cool grain markers, and then you have some paper in the glove box, and you're all set to start sketching whenever you feel like. So open this up. You can see that we have a pretty small glove box, but the good news here, 2 USB-Cs located right in that area, and this looks beautiful as well. I wish it was a little softer maybe. It feels pretty solid, this thing. So looking at the seats here, we have this beautiful brown interior with the Swedish flag. I love to see this in Volvo models. Bolstering is decent. We have a lot of adjustability for it. You can adjust this section separately, the lumbar support as well, and the inside, the support that you have in the back, you can also adjust that. I love that this color comes back in the door, and this is why I love this trim, this spec. I think this spec is, as I said, one of my favorite specs of an XC60, and probably the one that I personally would go for if I were to buy an XC60 today. Looking at the steering wheel, pretty traditional looking steering wheel for Volvo. If you've been in a Volvo the last 5 years, you're gonna recognize this steering wheel. Love the logo in the middle, voice command, and this button right here to remove the map or show the map. You also have these settings right here for the radio and the tuning, and you have the cruise control settings on this side right there. No paddles for the 8-speed, totally fine for me. This is not a vehicle that I would probably ever use with a manual gearbox anyway, so it makes sense to not have it. You can swipe this, look at this, swipe, and it opens up the entire sunroof all the way back to the passenger side. Honestly, actually I'm gonna keep it open right now because I'm actually gonna put the camera, when we take it for a drive, I'm gonna put it right there. So with that said, we talked about the interior design. We have a Harman Kardon sound system as well. Door handles look very solid and nice, and of course all the buttons for the window controls and the mirror controls located right there. Memory seat settings there. So with that said, let's jump in to the back seat and let's see how I fit behind my own driving position. Now coming in here, totally fine for me being 6'1", 6'2". I have no problems fitting back here. You can see all the leg space I have. We have this beautiful sunroof up top, looking at the clouds up there. Hopefully we get some overcast. The sun is about to go behind those clouds, so it's not too hot in here. Beautiful looking seats as well. Folding down this center armrest, you are going to find yourself 2 cup holders located right here in the front end. So you have to push it like that, and boom, it just pops up. You have some settings for the climate settings back here. You have heated seats, for example. You don't have ventilated seats for the passengers, but it's totally fine. You can also control the fan speed and the temp individually here, in addition to a couple of USB-C ports all the way down there. So with that said, we talked about the exterior design, the interior design. Now it's time to take this for a drive. You know, it's for me, it's always a pleasure to jump into a Volvo and go for a drive. And when I review so many cars every single week, and I get into this interior, it just feels different. It feels like a minimalist interior, like minimalistic interior, but it still has a clear Volvo identity to it, if that makes sense. Very hard to do. If you have the less stuff you have to design, the harder it is to create you know, an identity for it. But in this case, I think Volvo's done a great job. So let's see what sport drive modes we have here. Driving. Let's go in and put it into, I don't think we have any drive modes. We have off-road mode, and that is it. So we don't have the pure and power in this vehicle, but we do have 247 horsepower, so let's step on it. I mean, it's not the fastest vehicle out there, but you know, doesn't really matter to me. You gotta, this is the B5, it's not a T8 or something like that with the 455 horsepower that I had in the XC90 in the V60 Polestar, but 247 horsepower, 2-liter inline-4, great fuel economy, 30 highway, I do believe, 23 city or something like that. Not bad at all. And when you're driving a vehicle that looks this good, it just makes for an overall more pleasurable driving experience. Actually, let's take a right here. There's no one behind us there. When the car looks this good, it's just, you know, you're doing, still to this day, the XC90, when you're XC60, when you're driving it, it's still doing everybody around your favorite just driving past, specifically with the dark theme like we have here, and of course the 21-inch wheels, which just just plants the car exactly like I want to see. It's going to be very, very interesting. I think the next XC60 is actually going to be more of a product design vibe to it when you look at the exterior design, and I think the interior is going to have the same type of graphics or integration of the gauge infotainment screen like I have in the XC90, where it sticks up like this. And that is why I think we should really appreciate this XC60 while we have it, because I think the next one is going to be less automotive, more product designy, and on top of that is also going to have this, not the same beautiful integration of the gauge class infotainment screen like we have here. Let's check the turning radius. No problems at all. Very, very tight turning radius there. I wouldn't expect anything else. And 247 horsepower to me it's enough. I don't feel like I need more, even though the T8 drivetrain is probably one of my if not the favorite drivetrain on sale that I've tested in 2025 is the T8 with the 455 horsepower inline-4, and then you have this battery pack as well, bringing it up to 455 horsepower, and you get about 30-35 miles of EV range. Just a beautiful, beautiful powertrain. This one is not bad either though, the B5. If you want something more basic and you don't feel like you're in a rush all the time, 247 horsepower is definitely more than enough. The ride comfort in here, a little bit surprised that we don't have any more drive modes. We only have the off-road mode, and that is it. But the ride comfort with the on the 21s, it's still very comfortable. And if you want to just dial it down, you can put the, you know, remove the map from the center portion of the gauge cluster, and you can just chill out. And you got well over 500 miles of range on a full tank. So if you're going long distances, it's going to be no problems at all, you know, before you have to refuel. You're probably going to have to take a break before the car needs to take a break. I made a video on the refreshed XC90, and I said that the refresh was almost unnecessary, because if I look at both the old XC90 and the new one, I still think I prefer the old one, to be honest, over the new one, even though both of them are beautiful looking cars. And I think I'm gonna feel the same way when it comes to this vehicle right here. When they refresh this one, I think I'm gonna still prefer this generation of the XC60 over whatever is coming next. Huge thanks to McDonald Volvo here in Denver for providing this beautiful looking vehicle for me to review for you guys today. If you're interested in this one, it is, as I said, for sale right here, and I'm gonna link it down in the description if you're interested in this or any other car they have here on the lot. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.